Welcome back, everyone. Today, we've got a seriously fascinating explainer lined up for you. We're going to completely break down the strategic playbook of Hugo Boss in India. We're looking at a classic business case study here of how a massive global brand attempts to crack one of the fastest growing yet honestly most complex premium markets in the world. So get ready, because we are unpacking exactly how they position themselves, exactly who they're targeting, and the strategic tightrope they have to walk to actually pull this off.
So let's just dive right into it by framing our central challenge. How on earth does a strict German luxury giant conquer the Indian consumer? Think about the core identity of Hugo Boss for a second. It's built on a very strict European heritage, precise engineering, and a highly specific type of modern sophistication. Now take that brand DNA and drop it into a massively diverse, culturally complex, and rapidly evolving emerging market like India. It's a huge puzzle of adaptation versus brand purity.
And to truly understand this puzzle, we have to look at the economic reality on the ground. On one hand, you've got this absolutely incredible opportunity: rising disposable incomes, a booming middle class, and a massive surge in premium fashion consumption. But right next to all of that sits a giant roadblock. India imposes punishingly high import duties on international luxury goods. I mean, imagine slapping a massive markup on a suit before it even hits the retail rack. So the brand is constantly battling to justify that premium price tag to a consumer base that, well, while growing wealthier, absolutely still demands undeniable value.
To make sense of how they navigate this, here is our roadmap for today's explainer. First, we'll look at the premium Indian market. Then, positioning the boss, mastering the marketing mix, competitors and brand challenges, and finally, strategies for future growth.
Section 1. The Premium Indian Market.
What's really interesting here is the unique convergence of factors driving India's luxury boom. It's not just about folks having more money, though, the growing middle and upper middle class is definitely the foundation, but it's actually about a cultural shift. We're seeing a newly formalized corporate culture that actively requires high-end formal wear. Combine that professional need with a huge surge in brand consciousness among young professionals, the physical expansion of luxury malls to actually shop in, and of course, the undeniable influence of social media driving international lifestyle desires, and you've got a perfect storm for premium fashion demand.
Section 2. Positioning the boss.
So who are they actually trying to sell to? Their target is incredibly laser-focused. They are absolutely not trying to be everything to everyone. They're looking squarely at the 25 to 55-year-old demographic. We're talking urban professionals, successful business executives, and high-income luxury enthusiasts. And geographically, they are highly concentrated in major metropolitan hubs, specifically Mumbai, Delhi NCR, and Bangalore, because these cities are where the luxury consumers live, where they work, and crucially, where those premium shopping destinations are actually located. They want the consumer who views a Hugo Boss suit as a literal symbol of their professional success and confidence.
And this brilliantly illustrates their exact hierarchy. Hugo Boss deliberately positions itself right in a premium international sweet spot. They sit nicely above mass premium brands like Van Heusen and Louis Philippe. Those brands might have a huge Indian formal wear presence, but they lack that global prestige. Yet Boss sits just below the ultra-exclusive luxury tier of Armani, Gucci, or Dior. This strategic placement is genius because it allows them to communicate superior aspirational quality while still feeling slightly more accessible to that rising executive than a purely high-fashion couture house.
Section 3. Mastering the marketing mix. Let's break down the anatomy of their strategy. First up is product strategy, and it is a massive balancing act. They fiercely protect their core strengths, that perception of German engineering, premium fabrics, and timeless design. But they crucially have to adapt to local realities. Let's be real. You cannot sell a heavy European winter suit in Mumbai. So they adapt with lightweight fabrics suited for warmer climates. On top of that, to capture those younger, 25-plus professionals we just mentioned, they specifically push slim-fit styles. It's global heritage, but tailored for a local reality.
Next up is price, which honestly presents a daily tension for them. Hugo Boss utilizes a premium pricing strategy to reinforce exclusivity and attract affluent consumers. The price is literally part of the product status. However, Indian consumers, even the super affluent ones, are notoriously price-sensitive and value-driven. If the brand discounts heavily just to move inventory, they instantly damage that luxury perception. So they have to hold the line on price to maintain the brand image, even when it restricts their volume.
Moving to place or distribution, Hugo Boss relies on an omni-channel model. What this translates to in the real world is simply being exactly where their affluent consumer is, seamlessly.
Offline, that means exclusive brand stores in premium shopping areas and strategic airport retail outlets for the traveling executive. But crucially, they are expanding heavily into online channels, including their own brand website and luxury fashion marketplaces. This digital presence is an absolute game changer to reach that younger demographic of luxury buyers who are completely comfortable dropping serious money on premium goods right from their phones.
Finally, we look at promotion. How do they actually talk to this audience? Well, it goes way beyond just throwing up a billboard. They heavily leverage digital marketing, specifically Instagram campaigns and influencer collaborations, to connect with younger luxury consumers. But they also know that luxury buyers value experiences, so they focus on VIP customer experiences, exclusive store events, and fashion exhibitions. They use these touchpoints to tell their brand's story of German heritage and achievement, building that emotional connection and reinforcing the suit as the ultimate status symbol.
Section 4. Competitors and Brand Challenges.
Looking at the competitive landscape, Hugo Boss has a highly differentiated advantage. They are the undisputed masters of business fashion and German quality. Basically, if you want to look like the CEO, you buy Boss. Contrast that with Armani, who pretty much corners the market on Italian elegance and ultra-luxury imagery, or Tommy Hilfiger, who plays in a similar premium space but leans heavily into youth appeal and slightly more accessible pricing. Hugo Boss stands out by perfectly balancing that high-end luxury with professional practicality.
But, no strategy is perfect. Their massive internal strengths are pretty obvious. A strong global reputation, a wide product portfolio, and total formal wear dominance. However, their strategic choices create some inherent weaknesses. That premium pricing we discussed, great for their image, but it inherently limits their customer base. And because they target such high-income earners, they become overly dependent on those major metropolitan markets, which leaves huge portions of the country entirely untapped.
Zooming out to the external environment, the opportunities are massive. The sheer growth of the Indian luxury market means there is huge potential in expanding to Tier 2 cities, fueled in a big way by the boom in online luxury shopping. But they constantly have to navigate significant threats. Economic slowdowns, those immediately impact luxury spending. Changing consumer preferences towards casual wear, that can really hurt a brand famous for suits. And of course, the constant, never-ending battle against counterfeit products that threaten to dilute their hard-earned brand equity.
Section 5. Strategies for future growth.
Based on all this analysis, here is the actionable 5-step roadmap for their future survival and growth in India. Step 1. They have got to expand beyond the metros, utilizing regional digital campaigns and luxury retail partnerships in emerging cities. To capture the next generation, Step 2 requires aggressively targeting younger consumers with streetwear collections and youth-focused campaigns. This ties right into Step 3, strengthening their e-commerce with virtual styling and personalized recommendations. Step 4 dictates deeply localizing their marketing. We're talking integrating Indian festivals and corporate lifestyle themes directly into their communication. And finally, Step 5, building a sustainability positioning, highlighting responsible sourcing, which the modern luxury consumer absolutely demands now. And that brings us to our final thought for today. Can global luxury truly balance strict heritage with hyper-localization? Hugo Boss in India is a masterclass in trying to walk that exact tightrope. They're proving that you can bring German precision to the Indian executive, but only if you are willing to adapt your fabrics, your digital strategy, and your geographic reach. What this really means for the global brands you buy every single day is that mere translation just isn't enough anymore. True adaptation is the key to survival. It's a fascinating balancing act, and one that every international brand watching the Indian market absolutely must learn from. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.